Hi guys, little different setup today. I'm in a car, and do you know what? I remember a time when I used to smoke. You would drive in the car, you would get some coffee, and then you would stop by and then you smoke a cigarette. No longer. Almost 2 years ago, I quit smoking. And how did I do it? I did a self-hypnotic session. It calls Silva Method. So, in the Silva Method, it's a very specific type of session. First of all, if any of you not familiar with Silva Method, it was based on the work of this, I think it was the 60s, Jose Silva, who was working, I believe, for American Army, and he was the radio kind of guy, and he developed this system where you can, by practicing which, you can develop this extraordinary abilities, and one of them, you can program yourself for whatever different outcomes. And I was reading a book, and it was so funny, and it just nonchalant says, by the way, you can use it to quit smoking. And back then I was smoking about 1 cigarette a day, and I thought, oh, I'm not a really smoker, because 1 cigarette a day, come on, that's not an addiction. And then I decided, oh, do you know what? I'm gonna stop smoking. And I couldn't. I realized that by diminishing the addiction, you actually don't fight that addiction as hard as if it would be a big addiction. Meaning, because I didn't treat it as one, I didn't really thought I need some kind of help or need some kind of attention in that sense. It was just 1 cigarette a day, but at a very specific time. It would be around noon time when I would have my coffee, I would go on the balcony and I would have a cigarette. And I loved that process. But then one day I decided, how about I'm not gonna do that. And I realized, oh, it's harder. You start battling that addiction demon or whatever. Because that little voice in your head, it says, oh, come on, it's just 1 cigarette. Oh, come on, it's so much fun. You deserve that little break. You start associating that pleasure that you are experiencing in the moment with a smoking cigarette. And there's also physical addiction, even though I think it's it lasts 10 to 20 minutes. First time when you smoke, not the first time, but from the moment you insert a nicotine in your system, it takes about 10 to 20 minutes where nicotine wears out and your body starts craving it. Anyway, so in the book, as I'm reading the book, it says you can also use the Silva Method to quit smoking and do this. And I was like, let me do it. So I wrote a little piece of post notes and little yellow notes, and I said, I quit smoking by the end of that year. I think that was like 2004 or something like that. Oh, it's 2004. 2024. And I just went on my life and working on it. The Silva Method is the method where you close your eyes, you concentrate on your breathing, and you, with your closed eyes, you actually look up 40 degrees up in your closed mind, and you imagine that there is this big screen. On that screen, something is happening in a very specific way. First of all, you are seeing the experience, actions, what you desire. So in my case, I would experience myself or seeing myself not smoking, enjoying the life without it. That period of time where I used to smoke on the balcony during noon, I would be doing something else. The part of a Silva Method is that you imagine how amazing it feels and how everybody around you benefit from it. So my wife likes she doesn't like the smell of a cigarette as well, and she always says, oh my God, you're great, your skin looks great. And how she's like, oh my God, you look so much healthier, how I have health benefits, that I'm much stronger. And people around me, I play soccer, and how other people notices and they're like, oh my God, you're much stronger, you're a better player. So the whole idea is that you practice that, and then at some point of that practice, you send that image all the way to the universe. And you practice that daily. That's not all. The Silva Method plants that vision. The hard work starts right after that. Because what happens, I went outside and I see somebody smoking. And that's where I had to make a choice. When I see somebody smoking, Normally, let's say you're watching and you see in the movie the great moment, the person is smoking, and you all of a sudden start craving a cigarette. This time, I would have to concentrate on something negative about the person who smokes. For instance, they're out of breath. It might not even relate to the smoking. It might be something they wear. I would be like, oh, I don't want to look like that, or I don't want to be out of breath. I noticed one time on the street, the person was smoking, and it was like very stressed. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be stressed. So I started associating negative things about smoking and telling myself, see, it's good that I'm not smoking. So all of a sudden, I start chipping that away. Another part, I said, smoking is an addiction. And I'm going to treat it as if it's an addiction, meaning that I say, hey, there is a demon, that a physical, addictive little creature that sits on my back and, hey, come on, let's smoke. So I took that demon, I visualized it, and I put it into this castle that it's a brick, almost like a dome. And I put it inside, and I said, every time I have a craving, as if it's the demon inside trying to break one of the brick. I can see the visually how that brick is pushed out. And all I have to do is just put my hand on top of the brick and seal it. So every time I had a craving of this smoking. And I had to do that for the entire year. Then for the most crucial moment when I would be, usually when you drink with friends or you go out and everybody's smoking and there's no way I can escape, or the craving of smoking so strong that I can't stop, I bought herbal cigarettes. Those are just the last resort. And I'm an actor, so we use herbal cigarettes on set a lot. By the way, those of you who don't know, people don't smoke real cigarettes on set. They use herbal cigarettes. Some people say they're horrible because they smell like they're smoking hay. They're not that bad, and there's different types. So I went and I investigated, and I found the one type of cigarette that is as close as possible to real cigarettes. No like fruitiness or whatever. It's just honeybee. I think it's like honey bond or something like that from London. And I ordered them, so they came over. So I had that pack of cigarettes for that last resort, and I used it a couple times. So what happened then? I would be at a party and everybody's smoking. I was like, come on, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. So I would take that cigarette, start smoking it. Smoke it maybe halfway through. Terrible. You can breathe normally. It's not, but one thing is more important. You don't have that satisfaction that the nicotine does to you, because it's like your lungs are almost have a burn, some tingling, burning sensation. Those cigarettes don't give you that. And as a result, you don't have a desire to smoke more. You're like, what am I doing in it? So halfway through, I don't want to smoke anymore. I was doing that the entire year, combining the visualizing how happy I am using Silva Method, rewiring the pleasure with physical and negative aspect of smoking, and physically smoking non-nicotine cigarettes. Those three things did a trick. The desire to smoke started diminishing day after day, and after several months, I haven't smoked for several months, and it's easy. And if I have a desire, I remember that, oh, it's a little demon that's trying to get out. And the thing that about addiction, they say, if you're an alcoholic, you will be always an alcoholic. Just the difference between those who drinks and those who don't, you stop. So you never become a former alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic, but just you don't drink. That's how I treat my smoking. That demon is always there. I have a visual representation of that. And that if I ever wanted to even smoke one cigarette, decided now it's over 2 years. Come on, I can smoke one cigarette. That means that demon pushed that little brick out, and who knows, I would have to build the whole thing over again. So I decided, no, for the rest of my life, I'll keep that promise. And now it's much easier. I don't have a cravings anymore. I definitely noticed that the people who do smoke, it's a terrible addiction. It doesn't give you anything good. Literally, it doesn't. There's no health benefits. I remember there was a podcast and they were talking about sugar and how we all know that sugar is not good for you. But there's some benefits of sugar. I don't know, you might disagree, but there is. But they couldn't find any benefits of smoking. Only negative things. That was that podcast that said, if you want to live longer, healthier life, do two things in your life: exercise and quit smoking. those two things are definitely 100% beneficial for your health. So I did that. I started exercising and I quit smoking. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you can investigate a little bit more about the Silva Method. It's very interesting, cool practice, and it's widely available on the internet. You can put, there's millions of videos, audio books, and books itself. The story of Jose Silva is incredible. He was training his daughter because she was doing something bad at school or whatever, and then because of that practice, she became a psychic. She started seeing the future. That's crazy. I never get to that point, but who knows, maybe one day I will. But anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. It was fun to see you, share a little bit of a... Drop a comment below if you have any experience of that. Maybe you're struggling with different types of addiction, or maybe you think that you don't have an addiction and how that happened. My wife, for instance, she tried smoking as a teenager and never got into it, which is great. Maybe you're one of those, or maybe there is a different substance that you feel are struggling, or maybe you can share with us how you overcame that thing. Anyway, I'll see you next time, my friend.